Hi, Commissioner. I know Senator O'Meara asked some questions related to Plan 2014, and Senator Helming mentioned, and then also Assemblywoman Jenny. And, you know, for those of us who opposed it, the agreement, you know, near the end of the Obama administration going out was a bit frustrating. And you know, the opposition, I think, comes from the devastation we know is going to happen at some point because we're going to allow higher water. And so there's going to be impact on the South Shore property owners and some on the Eastern Shore as well when we have those instances. And certainly that's both public and private. And I know you talked a little bit about the possibility of some public answers with that. I know there are some efforts going on at the federal level to maybe pull back from that. Obviously, I support that. But just in thinking with that, in proposing 2014, the IJC did a bunch of research. And all that's been publicly given is some summary of that. Did they share with you what the more specific impact of their research says is what's going to happen so that we know what, you know, you talked about some mitigation possibilities or resiliency things. Do we know what those are?
So I personally saw summary information. I'll have to check with my staff to see whether or not we got more extensive information that you're referring to.
My hope would be that if you haven't, could we try to get that? Certainly, if it, you know, I can see the reason maybe they pulled back when it was before, but certainly having that, I think, could be helpful both in your efforts or any efforts at the local level. Second thing I'd like to ask a quick question about, the mandatory organic waste recycling program. One of my I get a little nervous when, you know, we start out with mandatory and whatever, and certainly we struggle with rules, regulations, and whatever that we add. I do think we have a major issue with food waste, and just interestingly, though, in and around my district, I've seen some amazing progress in the last couple of years. Things I wouldn't have thought about, but kind of the free market is working a little bit, and so we've seen apple and blueberry and cranberry and grape waste that was thrown away or paid to take away is now being used, repurposed, dried, put into, used as additives or other things, and so that market is working. I guess I hope that, I know there's some grant money I did see as a part of that program. I hope the incentivized versus the mandate side of it is there in the creativity and the ingenuity of kind of individuals, because I do think, and I guess I'd ask for your, you know, kind of thoughts on this, but, you know, I hope that the program, if it goes through, is designed in a way that it's not so narrow that it doesn't allow those where we haven't thought of what the answers might be, that they're allowed. Because I think there are people out there who may create a business to do something with that food waste that ends up being a positive for us that we may not envision.
Well, I think what we're trying to do with this is to create an all-in comprehensive program that isn't just you must recycle your organics, but in fact help to create a more sustainable and stable market really statewide, because there's so much flow right now going to landfills, you know, not going to food banks, not going to anaerobic digestion, not going to other productive uses. So the idea of the phase-in part, and the changes we're making regulatorily to enable anaerobic digesters to come in, for example, changes to seeker, proposed changes to seeker to make it easier to site some of these locations without going through a full environmental review, trying to get the market established. And then ultimately, once the program is up and running, if you're a generator and you somehow meet the generator levels, but you're more than 50 miles away from a viable receiver of that, then you can get a waiver. And there's also other waivers that can be given through this proposed package that we're putting together, that if it's not financially viable for you to do organic recycling, that you can get a waiver. So I think the program we're trying to create is one where we foster a sustainable flow of materials to various sources, food banks, anaerobic digestion, reuse. But we're certainly open to creating a program that brings in as many actors as possible and incentivizes behavior.
Thank you.